I have a question. What the F is a simp? And I say it that way because YouTube doesn't like it when you come on a video and immediately start swearing. Hello, welcome, my name is Cassandra, and this is where I try and cheer myself up, something, put it on the internet for my entertainment and yours. If that tickles your prickle, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. This is now episode 3 of my Let's Learn series, where we start with a simple question and then see where it takes us. And yeah, I know I'm late to like the simp party or whatever, but it's like, so I'm only in my early 30s, right? But I've been like old and grumpy and hating young people since forever, all right? And this whole simp thing, like I noticed it coming up a good fucking while ago, but I just like, do you know that way, like you don't even want to get involved? So even though it was being mentioned a lot and I didn't really know what it was, I was like, at a fucking principle, I'm not going to engage with this, you know? But it's like however many years later and I still hear people fucking talking about it and like YouTube videos and stuff. I'm like, what actually is that? So it's like, okay, maybe just bite the fucking bullet and find out what it actually is. But before I do that, I wanted to share something slightly remotely relevant to this video topic with you. So lately I've been like doing a lot of stuff around the house to like get it organized, like in the basement and stuff, clear out like boxes, throw stuff out wherever. And I'm like, I get overwhelmed quite easily and I'm not great with like big tasks and like involved things. So I've been like really breaking it down like piece by piece, like, you know, like one day I'll just organize this one particular box, or another day I'll just look at this one particular folder. Anyway, so the other day I was like looking at this one particular box that like more than 5 years ago now I brought with me all the way from the UK to Germany. Literally had not looked in it since. I was going through that box, and for one, like, I guess I kind of hoard documents in a similar way to, you know, how there's people that like in their basements, they'll just have stacks and stacks of like the local newspaper for every single day for the last 100 years. Like not quite that level, but like I had like original policy documents for like insurance policies that had already changed hands 3 times and never cancelled, and just like all this stuff that it's like, I don't need to be keeping that for my life. But anyway, and what I also found buried in amongst that was my high school yearbook. Super cringe. So yeah, I went to school in the UK, and UK like yearbooks and proms and stuff like that aren't really a British thing, but you know how it is, like I feel like the UK is kind of like the dorky older brother of like younger brother America, who somehow is like cooler and has more friends and stuff, so then he just like tries to copy stuff that America does to kind of latch on to some of the popularity. Anyway, so I found this yearbook which is like super fucking cringe, okay? And I'm gonna try not show you any of it because I don't believe it's publicly available, and obviously it's got pictures of other people and stuff like that, so just to respect their privacy, I'm gonna try not actually show you it. But the way I remember it, right, and maybe I'm misremembering, but the way I remember it, I was one of the people on the so-called yearbook committee, right, which was more like a group of generally collaborative, responsible people who were somehow roped in to doing the school's very first high school yearbook. I think only one, maybe 2 at a push of us actually even fucking wanted to do it, but you know, that way it was like, fine, whatever, what do we have to do? And again, if I remember correctly, I think me and at least one other person had decided like, this is so fucking like cringy and lame and stupid, we don't really want to be fucking doing it, no one is invested in this, but I suppose like there's a budget or whatever, we kind of had to see it through. And the way I remember it is like we basically, as like 2 of the organizers or whatever, just like started putting things in that were just designed to like troll people and just be like complete bullshit. So in a lot of the like bios under the picture, it's just like, I think it's just like a lot of it's just stuff that people didn't even say or that wasn't even real, just because like that was our way of trying to entertain ourselves. So we were, as I say, roped into doing something that we don't really want to do. So there was a few things in it that I just thought was like, yeah, very in line with that goal. Okay, and I'm gonna try and alter some of these things again to to protect the privacy of those involved. So there's one thing here, right? So we have a page about our beautiful house captains, right? So you have like houses, which is just like a fucking way to like segregate people, try and falsely generate competition or some shit like that, right? So I was one of the prefects for my house, which began with a K, so we'll just call it K. So there's a picture of me and the other house captain or the prefect. No, in fact, no, I tell a lie. I think there was a difference between a prefect and a house captain. I think the prefects, like, I don't even fucking know, like, again, it's just something that was stolen from America. Like, prefects had no duties. They were just like, instead of getting like a plain blazer, they had like certain blue ribboning around it. And then I think there was on top of that also house captains. So I think maybe in 5th year, which I have no idea what that is in the American schooling system, don't fucking ask me. But I think like 5th year is like 16, 17. I think then maybe I was a prefect. And then in 6th year, which is when this yearbook was from, I would have been about 17, 18. Right, so this is from more than 10 years ago. Fuck. Anyway, so it says Kay, like as in the house that we were in. Kay's Shrek and Donkey are Cassandra and other person. These dynamic duo, that doesn't even make grammatical sense, this dynamic duo. These dynamic duo do not quite see eye to eye due to Cassandra's lack of ability to walk on 2 legs. But their friendship has many layers like an onion or a layer cake. K Squared are famed for their secret service operations and their determination to touch the house cup. I don't know if that was supposed to be like a Harry Potter reference or something, fuck knows. Their endeavours have been unsuccessful thus far. However, the K captains, the K captains may lift up the cup this year as they will be the only ones actually present at prize giving. Like, oh my god, so cringy, right? In fact, what's this at the top? Once upon a time, some people ate some awesome and regurgitated it. Ugh. The regurgitations became what we fondly know as our house captains. They are the bomb diggity. Fucking hell. They enjoy regulars dips. That doesn't make sense. Again, grammatically incorrect. This is fucking terrible, and there's like no space in between the sentences. Who proofread this? Who was on the committee for this? Oh my god. They enjoy regulars dips in the rivers of Scotland, iron brew, classic Scottish drink, and moonlight walks through the crumbling but hallowed corridors of this school. Oh my god. I think it was like, do you know that way? I think we already knew that it was going to be really shit and really cringe, so we were like, how can we make it even more cringe and more shit? Like, let's just fucking lean into it, just in case people think that we were actually trying to make it good. Let's make it abundantly clear that like we fucking were not invested in the success of this. Anyway, yeah, I didn't read through all of it. I just fucking like obviously skipped the parts with my face in it, or skipped to the parts with my face in it, because that's what people do. Again, let me try and not like show it too much. But yeah, and then there's like this section, right, with people's pictures in the bios and stuff like that. And then under mine, right, I'll read mine. It's got a story of my life, M-A, instead of M-Y, because that's like, you know, the fucking way Scottish people talk, whatever. Which reads, this is apparently about me. Spot her in town Saturdays, because she's a jobless bum now, rocking out in her pleated skirt. Like, what? Always shy and retiring, that's sarcasm. It takes getting to know Cassandra before actually getting her, but once you do, whoa, let's just say it's worth the initial confusion. I don't know about that. And it literally says, yeah, so Cassandra enjoys the random things in life, explicit puppetry, which I believe is a reference to Harry Potter Puppet Pals, old but still great. and on YouTube. Sarcasm, rainbow socks, and swinging in the park after a long, hard day at school, which I thought was kind of funny because I always liked the swings, but like as a child, I wasn't ever really allowed to go to the playground or like do normal childhood stuff. So I guess at some point when I was a teenager, I would like sneak out to the park on the way home from school to play on the swings or some shit like that. And I recently got my very own indoor swing. So I thought that was kind of funny. Like, I've wanted an indoor swing for ages and I just never got one. But very, very recently I did get one. So I thought that was just funny. To read that, it continues, but you'd better listen when she speaks to you because she's really smart and doles out advice like free sweeties to little fat kids. Again, who fucking wrote this? Indeed, her advice has certainly helped us all through this difficult transitional period known as 6th year, which in the Scottish schooling system, certainly at the time anyway, I don't know what it is now, but that's like your last year in high school, which is optional. You don't have to do it. I think the earliest you can leave is 4th year. If you're 16 or over, then you can like fully come out of the formalised education system. But if you're 4th year and under 16, then you would have to go to college until you're like finish out wherever, because it's like, I think legally you have to be in school until you're 16. Anyway, and then quote me, I want a cookie. I don't remember that being something particularly frequent that I said. Then it's got in square brackets sarcastically, well, that's attractive, which to be fair, I think I did see that. And then I got my ticket, which I think was reference to one time where I decided to go to Tea in the Park one year, which is like an outdoor like British festival thing, which I don't know if it even still fucking exists, which is the only reason why I'm explaining it to you. But it's funny because like that one year I decided to go, and you know how it is, like, you know, you kind of fight for tickets, you go in the queue, the online queue or whatever, and then you eventually get them at whatever price. And then I think at some point I was like, because like, as I say, it's an outdoor, like generally weekend camping festival and stuff, and it's like, I don't fucking like outdoors and like being dirty and sleeping in the fucking mud. What am I doing? So I do believe I sold my ticket after getting it and apparently being excited about it, and I never actually fucking went. Which reminds me of something else I did, like genuinely. So I've done a lot in my career, quote unquote, and I used to work in recruitment, and at some point I was recruiting in the oil and gas industry, and I saw that offshore workers would make like a shit ton load more money doing jobs offshore than they would for doing the same job onshore. So at some point, and I would have been very young at the time, like early 20s, I thought like, you know, maybe I can look into this and maybe work offshore for a few years, make a lot of money, then come back and, you know, be like more comfortable already having some funds behind me, and then just like get on doing whatever I want to do. So I genuinely looked into this and researched this for like at least a few days, and then I stopped when I suddenly remembered that I can't swim. Because to work offshore, you need to like do all these like, you know, offshore, why do I struggle so much to say offshore? You need to do like these like courses and training and like get a certificate and stuff for like, you know, for like safety and insurance purposes. And I was like, hang on, I can't fucking swim. So that was a bust. I had to give up that dream. Anyway, and then it continues, where to next? Well, as it certainly isn't going to be going to advanced maths, which was some inside joke about advanced higher maths. Shout out to that teacher who I won't name, but she was fucking awesome. And the uni decision is still pending. It's anyone's guess. By the way, I did go to uni to study psychology, and then I dropped out after 2 years because it was shit. And everyone told me it would be the biggest mistake of my life. And then I went, got a full-time job, bought a house within like the next 2 or 3 years. So anyway, but I'm back to being a jobless bum, so that's interesting. And I'm sick, like I'm genuinely sick. Fuck off. Give me a fucking chance to heal. Anyway, although we're sure that her deep love and devotion towards our equestrian friends shall continue on forevermore, crack that whip. What the fuck? Like, I don't know if that's like referencing back to the Shrek and Donkey thing. I'm fucking allergic to horses. But yeah, as I say, this is like a pile of shit, and I just, I thought it was amusing to look back on over 10 years later. And then there was just one more thing at the back that I saw, which is like the awards, you know, like most whatever, most likely to whatever. And I was the proud winner of most sarcastic, which may or may not still be valid to this day. So yeah, there we go. Young people fucking hate them. Anyway, right. Let's get back to the point of the video. What the fuck is a simp? Like, I hate myself for doing this even, but as I say, like, it keeps coming up. It doesn't seem like it's dying. It's stuff like fucking, like, shipping as well. Like, what the fuck? Like, apparently shipping is, like, what the young folk, like, when people are trying to, like, force their friends into a relationship or whatever, they call it shipping. Like, ugh, gross. And then, like, simp, as I say, I don't quite know what it is, but like I get the impression from like the context that it's used in is that it's like basically a person who's too much into someone who's not into them, and they're getting kind of pathetic about it, I think. And then I even saw one video where they like almost implied that it was like a derogatory term. Whatever, I don't know, but hey, who's going to be the best person or the best source to tell us what this is? Fucking Urban Dictionary, of course. Which I feel like is either going to be a laugh looking through it, or it'll be like instant regret. Like, no joke as well, like, I remember, you know, when the internet was first getting popular and like Urban Dictionary first came on the scene, and of course like Urban Dictionary has like a lot of these terms that's like, you know, rude or whatever, like not safe for work. And I just remember like back in the day being like, oh, you know, I don't really want to look on Urban Dictionary because what if I stumble on something that like I don't want to see, as if it's the fucking dark web or something like that. I just think that's funny. So this may be like the first time I'm actually seeking out looking at something on fucking Urban Dictionary. You're welcome. There it is already, like on the fucking, what is it you call this? I can't remember what you call this, the fucking preview of the search. Simp. Someone who does way too much for a person they like. For example, Brian Shue, the simp. What the fuck is Shue? I bought her a car and a whole ass house and we not even dating. Nathan the pimp, you a simp. Okay, so then I guess it's like, why is it like way too much? Way too, a phrase originating from Canada. The phrase means to do or be something to a great extent. Really? Urban Dictionary is now just defining like actual English words as if it's like a fucking phrase. Ugh, anyway. Okay, so then it seems like it's not just about liking the person, it's like basically becoming their bitch, let's say. And it seems to be that it doesn't necessarily have to be like in a romantic or a dating context, but that seems to be the way, like the context that I've seen it in, being used. That was surprisingly simple. I thought it was going to be like, oh no, but there's more definitions. Oh wait, hang on, I need to see what the shoe is first. Oh my god. What? Can you see this? Is it big enough? Let me make it bigger. This is fucking stupid. So in its own example, it says Brian Shue the simp, with Shue underlined and hyperlinked so that you can go and see what it means by that. And it's talking about a secure housing unit. What? Technically, Shue can be used to describe any prison's isolation facility. It commonly refers to the unit of the Pelican Bay state. What? Like, why the... What? I feel like its own definition of like the thing it used itself is not fucking... doesn't make sense in this context in which it's being used. Like, what the fuck is this? Do you know what I mean? I fucking like... I hate young people. I hate the fucking young speak and fucking just like, what? The Shoo is a gang originally created in New York. Gang members cannot type the letter G or K because that's what the ops do. I don't think this is making me feel better. Anyway, other definitions. A man who puts the hoes before the bros. Oh my god. Ben is a major simp for ditching us for those hoes. A word that everyone overuses. Yes, okay. A word that everyone overuses without the correct definition. It means a guy that's overly desperate for women, especially if she's a bad person or has expressed her disinterest in him. Just want to check, are we conflating the two as the same thing? I fucking hope not. Yeah, if she's a bad person or has expressed her disinterest in him, which he continues to obsess over, they're usually just virgins that will accept any coochie from anyone regardless of who they are. Respect whammon does not equal simpery. I mean, I feel like this definition is more in line with the context that I've seen it in, but it's still fucking cringe in it. For example, A says, dude, Vanessa keeps saying no when I ask her out. She's all, stop asking me out and I barely know you and this has become more of an obsession than a friendship. Isn't she so smart? And B says, shut the fuck up, simp. Yeah, that's fucking creepy ass behaviour. Like, so basically a simp is a fucking incel stalker. That's like concerning to say the least. Squirrels in my pants? Jesus Christ. A simp, it is when a male is overly submissive to a female and gains nothing from it. So overly submissive that other guys cringe and feel ashamed when seeing them. This applies to males in relationships. When they're so submissive that they say literally anything to be in favour with the female. E.g. Jake. Bro, did you hear what Colin said to his girl? Alex, yeah, he's such a simp. He's embarrassing to be around. Get the simp mug. Oh my god. A term usually thrown around randomly now. A simp is someone who will do nice things for his crush in order to win her affection. Simps can go as far as donating tons of money to a girl or bashing others or themselves. They typically do not get the girl. Correct usage, John. I just bought Janet a new watch. Hopefully she'll finally like me. Brad, dude, quit being such a simp. Incorrect usage would be Cole saying, Stacey and I are going out today. Alex, simp. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's just all fucking pretty cringe and creepy, to be honest, a bit fucking gross. But like, all of these ones seem to be implying that it has to be of a guy, like a simp is only a male thing. You know what else I was confused about as well, right? I was also confused about the term finesse, okay, because young people also be taking, like, as I say, genuine fucking words from the English language and then, like, turning it into something else, like shipping. Can you just be delivering something? No, you have to be fucking meddling in people's personal affairs. Like finesse, right? Because there's that Bruno Mars song that I quite like, right? You know, be out here dripping in finesse, it don't make no sense, that one. And I thought it was like finesse in the fucking like regular sense of the word finesse, like, oh, you know, finesse, sparkle, style, you know, a little bit of swag or whatever, like, you know, a little bit of je ne sais quoi. Like, I thought it was him, like, bigging himself up, like, yeah, I'm feeling good today, you know? And then I was watching some video, I think it might have been a Susie video, and I remember, like, years and years and years ago, I used to watch his videos, and then, I don't know what happened, but they fucking just stopped showing up on my feed somehow, and then it appeared back on, so I was watching a couple again, and he was on there talking about simps, and I'm like, Susie, not you too. Except obviously. And then he was also saying something about finessing, like, you know, I'm out here finessing or something. I was like, what? So that's also now like a fucking verb? Oh my god, so let's see what that is. Like, this just me being old. How do you spell finesse? Is this finesse? Yeah, finesse. getting your way in life, sometimes through cheating, hustling. For example, I just finessed my way through that exam. I mean, I guess that's not like the fucking worst, right? I mean, you don't want to be like cheating, lying, stealing or whatever, but it's like, you know, getting through stuff, like somehow succeeding, which I guess is a little bit sort of like good to yourself or whatever. But what else? Getting something taken away from you in a slick way. So, for example, when your teacher collects money for a pizza party and doesn't show up the next day, that would mean you got finessed. Oh, so I guess that would be like in the sense of the teacher was finessing, therefore you done got finessed, ho, or something to that effect. To talk someone out of their things, but not stealing, so like conning someone basically, which, I mean, it's a form of stealing, right? You know, when we talk about like fucking ethics, and I'm pretty sure like conning people is illegal. Anyway, persuading someone out of their belongings or to do you a favor. I like persuading someone to do you a favor. But like these, like, I mean, this is not proper dictionary etiquette, because where am I getting the noun, verb, adjective, plural, synonym? The people need to know. Anyway, here's one that's like offers 3 definitions. Another word to describe using chegg. What the fuck is chegg? Like, I knew I would hate this exercise, but I did it anyway because I'm a curious cat and I couldn't fucking help myself. What the fuck is chegg? Oh, noun. Okay. Maybe it's not so bad. Noun. A site used primarily by physics and calculus students to get answers to their ridiculously difficult homework, quizzes, tests, etc. But can be used for other classes as well. Kind of like Slater. I don't know what that is either, but you're paying to get answers from experts. Chegg accounts are sometimes shared among classmates due to its high monthly cost. The verb to chegg would be the act of receiving answers from the site. For example, student 1, hey, did you do the circuit problems for that physics 2 take home? Student 2, yeah man, I checked it last night. Oh my god. Back in my day, people did their homework themselves. They didn't fucking, we couldn't go on the fucking internet. But like, I mean, what's popping out in my head here? I mean, I think it's fucking sad that, like, it's a fucking business now to be sneaky cheating people out of their own fucking educations. Like, y'all got fucking finessed and y'all didn't even realise it. Do you know what I mean? You're paying for someone else to give you the answer to something instead of fucking learning how to do it yourself. Like, where's the real benefit in that, you know? Like, I feel like that's kind of fucking sad. But on the other side of it, to serious it up a little bit, because that's what I do. I turn light topics into something serious. Like, for real though, especially you know, when the whole C-19 thing was like especially disrupting stuff, particularly, you know, like in schools, educational institutions and stuff like that. A lot of people had to, you know, switch to basically essentially like poorly supported homeschooling. Some places did like online classes and stuff like that. And that, in my perception, my understanding of the whole situation, really highlighted an already existing problem that in the fucking 21st century, there's very much an assumption of wealth, access, and privilege. People at large in like Western modern society are assuming that a fucking 4 or 5-year-old has access to their own like tablets, computers, iPads, phone, that they get fucking all this access to the internet and stuff like that. And as I say, it was like particularly highlighted when a lot of the the schooling moved to being online. You know, they obviously couldn't go to school in person, but they were holding classes online through like Zoom and shit like that. But a lot of people don't have access to that stuff, and it was just assumed that people, you know, have access not only to computing equipment, but enough of those types of devices in their household that, you know, the people who are having to then work from home can continue to do so using that technology. And then there's also going to be extra for every single one of their kids to also be attending that class online, that they're fucking, you know, able to pay for a good enough, stable enough, broad enough internet connection for them to be all on there at the same time. You know what I mean? That was really highlighted throughout that whole situation. But as I say, it already existed before then, because there were already, you know, a lot of homework assignments and projects being given to students from all like ages, backgrounds, you know, economic situations and stuff like that, where in order to complete the assignment, like you essentially were required to have the internet. You know, they weren't giving people, you know, plenty of time to go and like talk to relatives, or, you know, ask people that they know, like do a little like historical interview, or to like go down to the library, check out some books and shit like that. It's like all the stuff that just fucking assumes that you can just go ahead and Google it as a fucking 6-year-old. Like, oh yeah, let me just fucking Google this, you know? Which I think is really fucking shitty. I think that's something that fucking, you know, people thought about for all of 2 seconds, and then it just all fucking went back to normal, which I really think is very, very sad. Like, honestly, I do. You know, I make jokes about how I'm like old and I hate young people and stuff like that, but like, there's just so many aspects of like basic things that people should have access to, like a fucking proper education, where because of their other, you know, historical, systemic underprivilegedness, you know, like they don't have access to the foundational tools that are necessary to be able to go and take advantage of something else. I just think that's so shitty. And like, I'm not seeing politicians at large or anyone really giving a fucking shit about that. And then, you know, it's like this whole thing with like the generations, you know, like baby boomers and all that, people who fucking killed the economy, or then criticising the younger generations, being like, oh, you know, when I was your age, I already, you know, had a house and a fancy car and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but you paid about fucking $5,000 for it. Like, what would that get you these days? And also, you could open a fucking savings account and actually earn interest. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, nowadays, we have to pay the banks to keep our money. Like, you can't even get free bank accounts these days that don't have any interest. Like, anyway, let's get back to Urban Dictionary. Anyway, so that's what a fucking chegg is, okay? Finesse, what else? Second definition of this person's finesse: using the strength of street knowledge to pass anything you didn't study for or weren't prepared for. So kind of winging it, I guess. Like, oh yeah, don't worry, I'm just going to finesse it. I'm going to wing it. Their examples: I use the art of finesse. I use the art of finesse to pass physics with an A. Time to finesse my way through college. Girl, I was finessing through uni, like, as I say, it just like it fucking wasn't what I expected it to be in many ways. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to be like one of these people that like comes on YouTube and it's like, yeah, formal education is like all bullshit, drop out. I'm not saying that at all, but for me, it really wasn't good for me, because although I always managed to get good grades, like formalized education to me is like, it's another it's another way of just like kind of serving only one group of people, you know, the type of people who are able to respond well to formalized education in the format that it's delivered, and, you know, basically making people memorize facts and figures rather than actually understanding and learning concepts that they can then go ahead and apply in later life, you know, fostering the intelligence that we talked about in the last video. Whereas things like apprenticeships are typically still to this day looked down on as if like, oh, you're only fucking working in the trades because you couldn't do anything else. Like, no, fuck you. Like, anyway, yeah, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, uni just fucking like wasn't a good time. When I was at uni, I was like going to class. I had a part-time job. I was also volunteering, and then I was, you know, doing the whole student life thing. And like, I really liked working and volunteering, but the uni part was just like fucking bullshit. So that's why I left. Well, one of the reasons that's a short version of the story. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, and so then like I left after my second year, right? Because I'd already paid for my fucking lease and all that. Well, not paid for the lease, but I'd signed the lease and I was already, you know, had my flat and everything like that. Already paid the fees, or well, no, because university in Scotland is free, but you know, there's the whole like funding thing and whatever. Like, people who know what I'm talking about. People who don't, it's not important. Anyway, so I was already in my second year when I decided that I wanted to leave, but I was like, I might as well fucking see this through, right? I might as well just like get to the end of this year. So I would, and I'm not endorsing this. I'm not saying this is a good thing. I even lose track of why I'm telling this story. But I would like frequently fucking like, at the point where I decided that I wanted to leave, I reduced greatly the number of lectures that I would go to. But I would still, you know, take the exams and do the assignments and stuff like that, and I would still pass. So I guess I was like fucking finessing through that, and people would get pretty annoyed. There was like one particular time where it was like, I had some essay that was due at like 12 o'clock the next day, I believe, is like the times that it was generally, and you had to you had to print out your essay however many times, and you had to like physically slot it through this wooden box in this location by that time, and then for every 5 minutes that you were past the deadline, they would deduct points off like the score that you would get for your essay. And I remember I'd like put off doing this essay for ages and ages and ages because, like, one, I have ADHD, two, I didn't fucking care about it anyway. So it was like the night before, and I was like, right, okay, this is due tomorrow. I really need to do this. Like, I need to just fucking sit down. I need to just like batter this shit out, right? And then one of my friends contacted me, like, do you want to go out? I was like, I shouldn't. I fucking went out. You know, I went out. And then it was somewhere between like 3 and 4, I think, by the time I got home in the morning, the day the essay was due. So I was like fucking on some level of tipsy, right? So I'm like, oh yeah, typey. Writing this essay, I think I must have, like, again, I'm pulling these memories at my ass, but then I think at some point, maybe like 5 or 6, like I would have like said, okay, let me take a nap or something like that. I don't think I did an all-nighter. I think I just fucking was like, what's the word requirement on this? Like the word count. Just fucking hit some shit out. Must have tried to sleep for a few hours. And then, as is always the case, I was fucking having printing issues, right? I couldn't fucking get it printed out. And I ended up sliding the paper through the box at like fucking 3 minutes past 12 or some shit like that. And because it was technically 3 minutes late, I think I got like 5 points deducted off or something like that. And it was only because of those points that got deducted that I technically failed that one essay. That was the only one that I failed. But if I hadn't been 3 minutes late, I would have finessed my way through that, I guess. And then there were also then the end of year exams. And again, at this point, I'd already decided I was leaving. I'd spoken to my advisor and everything like that. So I was, you know, I had all but left, but I went to the exams anyway, like fucking, again, no preparation, no studying at all, because it was like, I was leaving anyway, I didn't really care. And then I passed every single one of my exams, like without having been to the lectures or anything like that. And people were not happy with me. I'm not telling this story to brag or to encourage anyone copying me. You know, be cool, stay in school, drugs are for mugs and all that. But yeah, I just think, like, again, like the way that formal education is, it's only set up to help those specific people who respond well to something like formal education, you know? There are lots of different ways to learn, especially by doing. Like, I learn the best by doing, but nothing that you do basically in like formal education is about doing, whereas apprenticeships, for example, are a lot about doing. That's something that I tried to do as well. Like I used to work also, I was like a sales executive account manager type thing for a company that did apprenticeships, a technology and business based apprenticeships, so it's not just always about trade, like it can be in other stuff as well. And in doing that I thought, you know what, this is such like a fucking better way to learn. Like maybe I want to do that, maybe I want to go ahead and do an apprenticeship, but like it's really, really bad. Like in the UK, you know, you get like minimum wage and everything like that, and at the time, not sure how it is now, at the time you also had age-based minimum wage, which I think is like super shitty. Like what, just because someone is 17, for example, doing the same or better work than someone who's in their 40s, you're just going to pay them less of a wage? Like total bullshit. And then with apprentices, it's even worse. I think like the minimum wage at the time was like less than £2 an hour, which is nothing. You cannot fucking live on that. You can't even get to work on that. But anyway, that's also something that I looked into. Anyway, my point is there's a lot of ways to learn, and I think that the system on a whole doesn't fucking appreciate that. Like even, you know, it's, you know, you get more and more of these like studies and figures coming out about how like, you know, going to university or college does not have the same weight, the same meaning that it did, you know, again, back in the day at the fucking baby boomer, you know, where it fucking, I'm exaggerating obviously, but like, you know, where it cost them like a fucking cent to go, and then everyone fucking were licking their asses because they've got a degree and they could have any job in the fucking world that they want, right? Do you remember the fucking, what was it? Well, I think it was 2008 actually when this fucking yearbook was, like, you know, the financial crisis and everything crashed, right? Back in the fucking day, you would apply for a job and you would get an answer 100% guaranteed whether they wanted to take you forward or not. Okay, you would get a response. Someone would acknowledge your existence on this earth. But after that happened, like, people were losing their jobs. They, like, you know, were like fucking, their livelihood was in the fucking bin. So there was a lot of unemployment. A lot more people were applying for like one individual job. And so like recruiters, hiring managers and stuff like that, they just fucking couldn't keep up with it. And that's why they started only replying to the people that they were interested in speaking to and that they wanted to take forward. And that's when they all stopped replying to people to say, unfortunately, you know, thanks for your application, we're not going to move forward anymore. So in case you're so young that you don't ever remember that era, in which case you probably wouldn't be watching this video because you know what a simp is and you're fucking loving it. But yeah, what was it? Where was I going again? But yeah, and now, so like now in like modern times, like getting a formal degree gets you in so much fucking debt. Graduate jobs are bullshit. They're like, you know, this is an entry level job for a graduate, but you need to already have 7 years experience. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's all such fucking bullshit. And like, as I say, like, you know, when I decided to drop out of uni, people were like, oh, it's going to be the fucking biggest mistake of your life, you're going to regret it. A couple of years later, I'd bought a fucking house. Most of the people I knew from uni didn't even have graduate jobs. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that to be like, don't go to uni, it's full of shit. Like, absolutely not. There's definitely still a place for formal education. I just really hate the way that even in modern times, people act as if you don't have a degree, you're a piece of shit, that you're uneducated, that you're stupid, you know, that you're like not worthy as a human being, which absolutely isn't the fucking case. Education in whatever form it is ultimately important. I just think we need to be less fucking elitist with, you know, what we claim as being valid education or not. Okay, get yourself an education. Just, you know, doesn't have to be one way or another. You know, do it in the way that suits you the best. Do what's right for you. Try and not put your life in the bin wherever possible. Anyway, what else? Maybe I should just put in like dripping in finesse, right? Because that's the song. Oh, what's that? What were we here for again? Yeah, we're going back to the original thing in the video. Yeah. Oh no, wait. Yeah, dripping in finesse. This isn't even a definition. So much finesse, it's fallen off you. Oh my god. So now they're defining the word much. Much. when we say sentences like walk much, we shorten do you walk much? Oh my god. I hate you. Anyway. Oh, wait, was that more random definitions? No, I wanted to see this one. Where's the rest? Typing in. Hello? Is that the only one? But here, let me. Oh shit. But it seemed as if without the G. Oh my god. Without the G. Okay. If you don't know, I'm afraid you'll never know. Fuck off. Kyle, what does it mean to drip and finesse, Bruno? If you don't know, I'm afraid you'll never know. That's not a fucking definition, okay? Get yourself an education. Right, okay, this has gone on long enough. Let's go to the let's just go to the homepage and see what else is like, you know, popular searches to make us hate life even more. Or no, is it not doing like? Oh, these are just random ones. I want to see because it had those ones that were like right on the start page, right? I want to see what those are. Cap. Originally a kneecap. Oh my god. Based slash. A word used when you agree with something. What? Oh, now the slash is gone. Based. A word used when you agree with something or when you want to recognise someone for being their damn selves, i.e. courageous and unique or not caring about what others think, especially common in online political slang. Really? The opposite of cringe. Sometimes the opposite of biased. When it's used in online political language, it can mean based in fact, or the opposite of biased, which is a little bit confusing since they sound so similar, but whatever. Due to the number of people who saw it being first used seriously by the online political right and came to the conclusion that it was related to the phrase destroyed with facts and logic in reference to right-wing personality, blah, blah. What? Okay, like, what? But, like... This is fucking stupid. Which I think we knew anyway, but... Anyway, comfy eye spot. When you're zoning out and staring off into space, the comfortable place where you rest your eyes is known as a comfy eye spot. E.g., person 1, dude, what are you staring at? Person 2, nothing, sorry, I just had a comfy eyes. Do you know what? I'm not gonna lie, I'm like a little bit fucking disappointed in Urban Dictionary. Like I said, like when it first came out, or like when it first came on my radar, I legitimately was thinking that this is just like the fucking Wild West of like all this fucking new age slang that people are coming out with, and that it would be like fucking dark, dingy, like disgusting dark web world of the English language, and it's fucking not. Like, I thought we would see more horror shows than disappointing examples of what humanity has done with the English language. But who am I to criticise? I'm a fucking dropout bum, so there you go. But I'm entertained. Are you? This has served its purpose. We do this, or I do this, to help me feel a little bit more alive and ready to get on with doing other stuff that's less fun. So yeah, one viewer come on at the end. Go back, watch it again from the start. We leaving now. Alright, thanks for watching. Like, share, comment, subscribe, or tell me other like cringe AF words that you hate. You know what? It's not just new words. I hate like old people words as well, like trendy, funky, lingo. Oh, like it makes me fucking cringe so much. Like, give me oh my god, I was gonna say give me moist and panties any day, just because those are like the typical words that people hate. But Of course, the combination of the two is a bit fucking gross. Anyway, what I'll finish on is I like the word sewage. That's a nice word to say. Sewage. Sewage. Similarly, cabbage, but not quite the same. Sewage. Alright, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again later. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye. 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 Bye.